Talks are said to be continuing between Jonathan Marchessault's camp and the Vegas Golden Knights. Details next on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Gametime. This is the best place to get your NHL Draft tickets. Download the Gametime app today. Use the promo code LOCKDOWNNHL, and you will get $20 off of your first purchase. Up against the clock. David Pagnotta of the fourth period, Chris, says that he has spoken to Pat Brisson, Jonathan Marchessault's agent, and Brisson told Pagnotta that talks are continuing between the two sides. It just appears to me that this VGK organization is in some sort of a state of flux. Again, just from the outside looking in, Brisson told Pagnotta that both sides want to get a deal done, but the Golden Knights have to create cap space. How can VGK at this point, this late in the game, create enough room in time to salvage keeping Jonathan Marchessault?
A couple things happening right now. Number one is leverage. The Golden Knights need to make a move, whether they do something splashy that involves Theodore and Logan Thompson or Aiden Hill or whatever's going to happen, or if it's something a little bit smaller to free up $2 to $3 million involving a Zach Whitecloud, a Nick Hague, a Nick Waugh, just throwing some examples out there as what's needed for things to happen. Trade season officially started about a week and a half ago, and it really hit new heights between game 6 and 7 of the Stanley Cup with some big trades happening. So you can't tell me that teams aren't willing to make deals and stuff. Issue, leverage. We talked about this, I believe, yesterday with situations happening and, like Ullmark not knowing what teams he was going to waive his no trade clause for and things like that. So other teams know what teams are trying to make happen. So if the Golden Knights are going to make a deal involving, some salary cap going the other way or some salary space, teams might not be willing to offer as much in return because they know the Golden Knights situation and they're trying to take advantage. And the best example I can give is Marc-Andre Fleury and the Chicago Blackhawks deal from about 4 years ago, approximately, when Marc-Andre Fleury was shipped off for a prospect nobody that was dumped probably a day after that trade happened. So it was basically a future considerations type of deal. And then Marc-Andre Fleury gets flipped for, I think, a third-round pick to the Minnesota Wild, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just an example of what the Golden Knights are experiencing right now.
Vancouver yesterday, this was a move that we didn't really know.
You just wanted to bring out Teddy Bluger. You just wanted to say Teddy Bluger.
Well, Teddy Bluger, number one, he was one of our targets, but the signing yesterday
your targets
of Ilya Mikheyev, that frees up $4 million, and now the Canucks want to re-sign our guy, Dakota Joshua. So Joshua's going to be
our guy. That's my guy.
No, we both.
That's our guy.
You and I were like, we were in agreement. I had him on my list right in front of me. You said his name. I was like, bingo, this guy would fit in so well with his organization. But players are going to start to disappear off of this target list, even if it's our target list. But
so two things. Number one, right now, this is why when we talked about in yesterday's show the dominoes that need to fall, mine was pretty simple. The Golden Knights need to strike first, strike hard, no mercy, right? The Golden Knights need to be in the front of these big deals that are going to be happening. And if Marchessault is out of the picture, then they need to be the first team making the splashes once free agency happens, because it's going to be a friggin' whirlwind of things happening. And with Marchessault right now, this is an old school car deal happening, right? Marchessault walks into the dealership and says, hey, this is what we think we're worth. That number is probably around 7.5 for 4 years, if I had to guess. And McCrimmon, the manager behind the desk, probably just kind of shakes his head. Or maybe McPhee is the pencil. He's the one behind the desk telling McCrimmon, let's see if we can get him maybe at 3 years at $6.5 million. And then they counter, they go up and back, and they're writing, I'll buy the car right now, and they sign their name to this. And then McPhee tells McCrimmon, now we're going to want to be around here. And at some point when you're in a negotiation for buying a vehicle, you get a true sense of where the dealership needs to be, and the dealership gets a true sense of where the buyer needs to be, and then somewhere hopefully in the middle the deal gets made. This is really no different with Marchessault and his camp, but how long has this been going on for, and how many trips to the car dealership does Marchessault have to make before he can get his key code to remain going in through the employee entrance at City National?
So you're finally calling the mix used car salesmen like we knew that they were. It's
Sure,
a pivotal,
I guess, but
it's
that
pivotal.
isn't that every GM, to be fair?
It's a pivotal year for this franchise. Let's face it. There's five or six UFAs right now. You got to be competitive this upcoming season while balancing the books. And then also, again, you have to appeal to this fan base. And this fan base is they're getting stirred up here. And next year, I say that this is an important year. Well, but this is a real important year compared to next year, where you could only lose a Brett Howden, your favorite Keegan Colasar, and the two goaltenders to UFA. It's an important year and time, I believe, for this franchise. The time for this franchise is right now. It's an important time.
Yes, we've both talked about there are so many things that need to happen. So we talked about the first domino that needs to fall for things to go in the right motion, but how many dominoes need to fall for the Golden Knights to have the proper team on paper? Last year it was easy. Trade Riley Smith, extend Ivan Barbashev, boom, done. And then obviously deals get made in the offseason once Mark Stone has his yearly episode of missing the last 3 months of the year. So is that what's going to happen this season? I don't think so. I mean, it depends how badly the Golden Knights want Marchessault to be involved. I mean, let's make it clear. If the Vegas Golden Knights and Jonathan Marchessault were only, let's say, $500,000 apart, and they got the term set, $500,000 AAV, so $2 million. Seems like a big number. It's really not a big number. If they were that close, this deal would be done already. This deal would be done. There is absolutely no reason why, if again, we don't know the specifics here, but if Marchessault is taking a reasonable take based on his age and his output and the fact that he spiked and probably peaked last season, and McCrimmon, if he's willing to look ahead to the future and pay Marchessault for the player he's going to be while taking strong consideration into the player that he was, there's a deal on the table. There's definitely a reasonable deal on the table. But do the Golden Knights want to make that deal? And if they want to make that deal, they would have made that deal by now. They would have found a way.
How far apart at this juncture? Let's just guess here, okay?
$1 million and $1 million in 1 year, I'll bet. Or $4 million in 1 year, I'll bet.
They're $4 million apart.
1 million. So my guess is
how far apart are they? How far apart are they?
Yeah, I'm answering the question.
I'm answering the question. I'm going to say $2 million and at least 1 year in term. That's what I'm
saying. No, the reason I'm saying $4 million is I think they're $1 million off on the AAV, and I think they are 1 year off on the term. So I guess if we do it like that, yeah, that's $4 million from a totality standpoint of the contract.
So let me ask you this, Golick. Did you finish that entire pitcher of that beverage that you had in front of you yesterday?
Yep.
What was that?
Strawberry margarita.
Okay, impressive. It was.
Amanda freaking lightweight had like a cup and a half, but the first cup she had wasn't even from the pitcher, like it was extras. So yeah. I'm
glad that you enjoyed date night, and I also wanted to ask you. So, what big nugget right now today, as all the entire NHL is here, including the stinking board of governors, what big nugget would you trade away today, right now, immediately, to secure Marchessault, to show that you are serious about re-signing Marchessault? Because I don't know, you could throw out numbers all day, all night, right? And maybe they don't want to sign him at the end of the day.
I think it leans more towards not wanting to pay Marchessault his near market value. I'm not saying full market value because I think Marchessault is willing to be a little bit. He doesn't need to be, but I think Marchessault is willing to take a little bit less given his circumstances and the circumstances of playing in Vegas from a financial perspective. They don't need to do a big nugget. That's the thing. They need to free up some way, somehow. I mean, the Golden Knights right now, today, this moment, $6.2 million. The minimum contract is, I mean, Logan Thompson is 700, but for conversation purposes, a league minimum is about 800,000, and there's only a handful of players on the Golden Knights that are in that situation. Everyone else obviously is going to be higher. So if Zach Whitecloud's the piece that goes and it's a 4th round draft pick, is, you know, and you free up that 2.2 or 2.5, whatever his number is. Same with Nick Hague. I mean, Nick Hague had some injury issues last season, not knocking the guy, just, you know, choices have to be made. And these are easy deals. Like, you can't tell me that, okay, Kelly McCrimmon called 10 GMs and dangled Nick Hague and said, hey, I want a 4th round draft pick or a 3rd round draft pick in return. And someone offered a 4th round pick. Like, I can't in the right mindset think that a single round draft pick is what's going to stop the money from being there to extend Marchessault. I think it's more or less the Golden Knights are going to want to keep Marchessault and secure Marchessault, but it's going to be
lowballing him.
It's going to be at the number that it would have been last offseason.
Yeah, and that's not good. And that's
yesterday's price is not today's price.
There's not many returning 42 goal scorers in the National Hockey League. If they're going to do it, again, I liked what you said yesterday about the sense of urgency. They've got to move now.
And there's not enough urgency. It's not that there's not urgency, Tony. I think there's not desire. Let's be clear.
The
Golden Knights, I think, are the most urgent team in the NHL when it comes to finding a way to get a deal.
That's why we thought it would have been done by now.
It would have been done 40 days ago. It would have been done. It would have been done when the team doesn't put extensions out there during the playoffs.
So I looked at the roster for the softball game, and it's pretty weak this year. And then, of course, they're going to have some players that are dropping out. But Mitch Marner, he's a pull hitter, righty. He's been practicing getting BP in with the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully they can sign him in time, at least to try to salvage this softball game coming up at the Las Vegas.
You got that higher wall in left field at the Las Vegas ballpark, so you definitely need someone with some strength to get over that wall.
He's pretty strong. Coming up next, the NHL Awards are in town tonight at the Fontainebleau Hotel. We'll have our picks for the 5 major awards. That comes your way next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. You got to check out Gametime. Go to the Gametime app today. Download the app. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. And that very first purchase could be taking the guesswork out of getting tickets for the National Hockey League Draft. And I hope to goodness that the coverage of the NHL Draft will be far better than last night's NBA Draft coverage, which is not very good. Download the Gametime app today. If you create the account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, $20 off of the first purchase. They have all these terrific features there, last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, all of that. You get views from all seats in the venue for the NHL Draft coming up here starting on Friday night. You can pick your seats, and I saw all-in prices for Saturday. Day 1, extravaganza. Day 2, that's the meat and potatoes. And I saw tickets all-in prices from $45. And I think that's going to be spectacular there. So I might check that out myself on Saturday. Terms apply. Again, create the account. Use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. $20 off of your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back on this edition, Locked On Golden Knights. Don't forget, tomorrow is WTF already. What the Friday? Saturday's the Chris and Chris Jr. show. Check that out, the YouTube exclusive. And thank you so much for making us your first listen every day. I'm telling you, we get all of these unique listeners from all over the globe, and we appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Tomorrow, we will have our 7-round mock draft. No, I was just kidding. That's a joke. That's a bad joke. Tomorrow we'll get Chris's pick there for the first round for VGK. Did you see Macklin Celebrini yesterday over at City National? Yeah, they did this youth event, a clinic for all the kids, and at the end they like stuffed him and a couple of other rookies into a team picture with all the kiddos, and the "Go Knights, Go" chant broke out for everyone except for Celebrini. That's going to be a fun little deal
good
there.
Job.
He
good
knows
job.
who he is.
I think that's good.
Yeah, he's a hometown guy, just like your guy Matas Buzelis with the draft pick yesterday. You know who that is. He played for the hometown Ignite here.
You're talking basketball, okay?
Yeah, in the G League. Well, I'm talking about your Bulls and your draft pick. So,
hometown
kid.
Yeah, I was dialed in.
You never saw him play, right?
No, I never.
You didn't go to any of those games, G League.
You mentioned the NHL Awards.
6'10" power forward. 6'10" power forward. He's going to be decent. He'll help your team. Okay.
You mentioned the NHL Awards. Tomorrow we're going to be hanging out. I think the hockey news somewhere around Win and Encore doing some promotional shoots with some draft picks and ripping some packs of hockey cards during the day and doing some interviews. So that's going to be a good time tomorrow. I'm going to have a good Friday.
Okay, man. Can you get some promos or maybe some rigged comments there that we could play from some of these rookies?
We'll see. Maybe. I don't know.
Right. Okay, that's cool though. That's cool. So you'll see some of the new talent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be hanging. I know. Through a couple different avenues, we're trying to line up a few interviews and such. And I think we're just gonna kind of hang out and kind of see what comes. And it's gonna be a good time.
5 major trophies handed out tonight. A lot of hardware at the NHL Awards here in Las Vegas and our predictions. So, starting off with the Calder Trophy for the best rookie. This is a no-brainer. It is Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks over Brock Faber of Minnesota, the defenseman Luke Hughes of the Devils. The thing about Faber and Hughes, well, if they didn't target Connor Bedard, he might have played in every game. Each of those two players played all 82 games this past season, and 68 games for Bedard and 44 points. A lot of people took the point total to go flying over. Remember what it was for the season? In any event, the Calder Trophy should be handed out to Bedard, or there's going to be
it's Bedard all day. Luke Hughes, Brock Faber, both tremendous talents. Are going to be great, but it's a no-brainer. Not even worth going too far into detail. It's better odds for him to win the Calder than it was McDavid to win the Conn Smythe.
Okay, the Norris Trophy. The candidates that will be here in Las Vegas tonight, one night only at the Fontainebleau. Quinn Hughes from the Canucks. I think he's got to be the heavy favorite. Roman Josi of the Preds. Cale Makar of the Avalanche. Makar, 90 points in 77 games. I like Hughes, played in each and every game and scored 92 points this season. And I think he was one of the major reasons why the Canucks were very good this past season and almost there.
Huge reason, but Makar is just on another universe, and that's not knocking Quinn Hughes. I think Makar just has a little more of the difference-making ability than Quinn Hughes. If it goes to Quinn Hughes, great. No one's going to be mad about that. But I'm on Cale Makar.
Whoa. Okay, so I think we differ there. You're going to go with the name brand. And then for the Vezina, okay, we've got Sergei Bobrovsky from Florida, Thatcher Demko, who was injured for most of this season from the Canucks, and my favorite would have to be Connor Hellebuyck. He had 56 starts this past season.
Yeah,
and
Hellebuyck.
They voted at the end of the regular season. We have to make that point too.
No, that's important. I wrote down Hellebuyck as well. It just his regular season was on a different level. How many times did we reference in the first 40 games of the season how many games in a row it was where the Jets and Hellebuyck defense, give the credit to the defense, but Hellebuyck was a major part of it. How many times do we reference where they gave up 2 goals or less? There was just a crazy stretch where they were just impossible to score on. And then, like, unfortunately, the tale for Hellebuck's career, playoffs come, team in front of him falls apart, and Hellebuck fatigues. But it doesn't matter. This is a regular season award, and it should be Hellebuck's.
Yeah, they did indeed. 56 starts is just amazing. And this was a team, the Jets, next year's favorite, according to Paul Maurice. This is a team that allowed the fewest goals of any team in the National Hockey League. And Hellebuck stopped 382 high danger chances. That's pretty amazing. So I think that could happen. And then we have the two MVP trophies. The first one is voted on by the NHLPA, and that is the Ted Lindsay Award. So we'll get into that. And this is for most valuable player to their team through the NHLPA. And it's voted on, again, by the players pretty much. And you've got Nikita Kucherov of Tampa. You've got Nathan MacKinnon of the Avs. And Austin Matthews, the favorite here, 81 games, 69 goals. The past two seasons, plus 31 in each of the last two seasons. So all they're going to need is some stellar goaltending up there in Toronto, and maybe I'll get my Canadian team to win the Cup coming up this season. Well, it's either going to be Winnipeg or Toronto.
Kucherov, amazing season, and we'll talk about him probably in the next award. But Austin Matthews, I'm with you on that. 69 goals, just he's on a different universe. For the players who are in this category, Kucherov, McKinnon, and Matthews, I think Matthews should be the front runner. It's not a knock. And McKinnon, I mean, I think he had a huge 120-something point season or something like that too. And, we're just dismissing him because of what Kucherov and Matthews did.
Yeah, for sure. And when we talk about the MVP, most valuable to his team award, this is voted on by the sports writers, mostly the scribes, the Hart Memorial Trophy. And you can't, I don't think they could take it away from Nikita Kucherov of the Lightning.
No.
He played in 81 games, 144 points.
One key stat. Let's see if you got it. One key stat.
100. What did I write down? I can't read my writing. What was it?
So the key stat for me, 54 greater points than the next player on his team, Kucherov. 54 greater points than the next highest point total on his team. That's by far the most valuable and most important player to his team in that category of candidates.
Okay, but then you also have Nathan MacKinnon, 140 points in 80 games. Thing that stands out to me is that 35-game home point streak. He had that streak going for 35 games where he scored a point at home. That's incredible. And then this guy named Connor McDavid of the Oilers, who had a pretty good season at 132 points. Most valuable player to me is Kucherov. It's got to be Kucherov, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're just blasting right by McDavid in the season that he had. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's tough to not say McDavid in the circumstance, but Kucherov, just what he did was just on I won't say a different universe than those other players because that would be disrespectful. But Kucherov, I don't think this is going to be a slam dunk. Like once the votes are shown, I think it might come down to how many local writers went with the local route versus maybe the more deserving of the candidates. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it's got to be Kucherov tonight. I have something, it says 100 onesies, but I don't know what that means. Coming up next,
we didn't talk about the coach. We didn't talk about the coach award, the Jack Adams, Rick Tocchet, right? Got to be Tocchet.
Did I miss an award? I counted 5. 1, 2, 3. 4.
Yeah, I had to go on a separate site to see that one. I like Rick Tocchet for the Adams.
Okay, Rick Tocchet for the Adams. Coming up next, how many professional hockey teams are too many in the state of Nevada? We'll get to that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to chime in tomorrow. It's WTF, What the Friday, and Saturday, the Chris and Chris Jr. show which is the YouTube exclusive. By 2027, let's say, Chris, the Silver State could have as many as 5. You said 4. 5 professional hockey teams here in the state: VGK, Silver Knights, women's professional hockey team, the Reno Roadrunners of the AHL. They're going to change the name.
That's good.
And the Tahoe Night Monsters, ECHL up north. Too many pro hockey teams here in the Silver State.
It could be. I mean, I honestly, the women's team, wherever that would happen, that would not push it over the edge. I think that would be a massive success if that comes, whether it's Orleans, Dollar Loan Center, T-Mobile, or a combination of all 3 arenas. I think that would be tremendously successful, and that would be the most exciting one for me as far as the new ones that are kind of floating around. And I mean, this is just a kind of a quick segment here. You just kind of wonder, and you start with the Henderson Silver Knights. I think there's concerns. I mean, this is just from observations, and you have the announced attendance at the Silver Knights games. Then you have the physical number of people that walk into the games. Anyone that's seen that knows that there's usually half as many people that physically go to those games versus the amount of tickets that are sold. Now, obviously, we're talking, a 12-hour drive away and a 45 to an hour, plane ride. So we're talking 2 different markets, so to speak. But I just have to wonder if, Vegas is not a major hockey market. Let's be clear about this. It's a great market, but it's not a major hockey market. And the Golden Knights did really well, and I think they'll continue to do well from a business standpoint. The Silver Knights will see what tricks they have up their sleeve to make things a little bit better for the fans, the season ticket members, and everybody else. Can Northern Nevada sustain? There you go, Tony. Can Northern Nevada sustain AHL hockey and ECHL hockey?
Yeah, there's nothing else to do up there. Have you been to Reno lately?
Yes, I have, and that's why I'm concerned about it. I mean, granted, I was on the row, and that's definitely a shadow of what it used to be 15, years ago. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I get it. It just feels like too much. I don't know. It's just the vibe. And again, this is a narrow-sighted perspective. I don't live in Reno. I've been there probably 6 times in 15 years. So there's people that have a much better perspective and pulse on the situation than I do. But it just feels like 9 short years ago, hockey was nothing in this area. It was talked about, and it's exploded very, very well, and it continues to grow. You see it on the youth side and everything. At what point is enough as far as teams coming here, and can the business? That's what matters. It has to pencil. Otherwise, if it's not making money, then changes get made. You just wonder how an ECHL and an AHL franchise in Northern Nevada are going to do. It's not going to affect the market down here necessarily, but you never know.
Are we ever going to get that announcement about the Night Monsters and the affiliation with VGK?
They're going to go back with the comments. They're going to go back with the comments or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely kind of strange how long it's
franchise here, baby. Or the Q needs to come here. Put the Q at the Orleans.
You know why they call it the Q, right? Quebec,
like
Canada, up north.
Perfect. We could do that. It doesn't matter.
Technically, the ECHL don't call it the East Coast Hockey League, but it's the ECHL has grown obviously out west and stuff. So maybe the Q can come down. I like it. Bring the Q down here.
It's been low key. Bruce Cassidy this offseason. I don't know. Like, there's nothing.
He deserves it. Let him chill. He's enjoying watching his family play. He's got kids that play hockey in the rinks and stuff, and he's just chilling, hanging out, and it's good. Let him be a human being for a little bit. I like it.
Okay, so the 3 coaches for the Jack Adams Award are Onis, Brunette, and Tocchet. And, Tocchet, close friends with one, Robin Lehner. Do we see Lehner surface tonight? Sitting at
does he thank Robin Lehner in his speech?
He has to. Yeah, they're poker buddies, right?
How do you get to? You always find a way to get Robin Lehner, whether it's a buyout, which makes no sense.
Word of the day.
This
Lehner.
Or tomorrow, right. WTF? You're gonna have a Robin Lehner. Monday, you're just gonna have a random. They're gonna Marchessault is gonna be a new contract. They're gonna say, okay,
no,
Robin Lehner
he'll be here. Robin Lehner will be here for redevelopment camp. they started something new there.
I almost wonder if our Monday show, I was thinking out loud very unprofessionally, but if our Monday show, instead of recording in the morning, if we should record like in the early afternoon as some things change, some changes happen instead, maybe.
Maybe we'll do a doubleheader. You never know.
That's a good idea too. That's a good idea.
Okay. We could do it from that bar you were at. That looked like a lot of fun there. We'll give you a picture.
Flamin' fajitas. I'll give them some press. That was good.
How about me? I guessed it, right? I guessed it. I said, you're at Juan's, aren't you?
I live in Henderson. I had a huge margarita in front of me. That was like minus 600. I was at Juan's.
Okay. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Welcome to all the NHL fans from around the globe to our city, to Sin City. Of course, tomorrow, I know you don't want to miss our draft preview. It'll take about 2 seconds. We'll probably recap the awards and much more on the way.
Even have a first round pick tomorrow. They still got time to fix that.
They're going to fix that. Of course, thank you so much. My Knicks made a trade. They got 5 more picks in the second round that they have no money to spend on these guys. So we appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. WTF is tomorrow. So line up all of those terrific comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.